Back on Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors, joined by Saluki's head coach, Kelly Bond White. And coach, it's been a little bit since that SEMO win. A lot of practice between then and now. But I'm curious, how much does the energy from a win like that, a rivalry win, a close win, really passionate win, if you will, how much does that energy carry over into an extended period of practice?
It carries over for our kids just because they were able to execute a game plan. They stuck with it for 40 minutes. There were some runs in there, there was a little adversity in there. But the good part is the voices that we've been really empowering and trying to get to step up. Those kids spoke up in critical times to pull us through. And so you get those same echo calls in your practices, and you know it's resonating a little bit. And so it's been good. So it's been a good positive thing for them to see that. We were able to watch the film. We were able to move on from it, but carry some of those same things into the next ball game.
And the next ball game is conference play, which is hard to believe on Thursday at Bradley. What would you say some of the biggest points of emphasis have been for this group to improve upon before Valley play gets here?
We've talked a lot about tempo and pace. And so finding our moments to attack, finding our moments when to execute, when to slow it down, when to get it inside, and how to get to that free throw line. And that's been really the biggest point of attack for our young ladies is that we have to shoot. Where are we shooting the highest percentage? And it's coming from that free throw line. So that's something that we really locked in on, ball reversal and attacking off of the ball reversal has been huge for our ladies. But just getting a chance to get in and clean up some stuff, add in a few wrinkles. Very grateful for the time that we've had, especially with finals being over. It's all that was my favorite part as a player, and our kids have really enjoyed just being able to be free and kind of remove the student a little bit and just be athletes.
Yeah, that's got to be a weight off the shoulders for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Um, Looking at this roster, one thing that I've enjoyed watching every game is, Elena has kind of been that steady presence in terms of scoring at least, but it seems like different games, different player has stepped up. Who would you say has maybe improved the most since the start of non-conference play?
For sure, Janiyah. Janiyah in preseason, she was a little rusty, getting back into the swing of things. And she wasn't in that first rotation. And so we knew what she was capable of, but her voice never changed, her leadership never changed. But once she got into the flow of it a little bit more, you start seeing more and more of what she could do and how she could impact games, whether it was from the mid range or her stepping out or just making good decisions within the offense and getting to the free throw line. So Janiyah has been a bright spot for us.
Talking a little bit more about personnel, one thing that we've talked about a lot is how different the roster is without Kennedy Davis.
Mhm.
And I know might be approaching her return at some point. What will she add when she's able to get back out there?
What she really gives us is a little bit more depth at that guard spot. We can do a little bit more things that we want to do that we haven't been able to do with kids logging some heavier minutes. Uh, but she's another distributor. She's another kid that comes in and she thinks her teammates first. She can stretch the floor, which opens it up for some of our bigs inside. And she's a three-level scorer. She can get downhill, but she makes good decisions. And another solid kid defensively that can keep the ball in front of her and do some things. And that's why we brought her in. So we are getting a little bit excited as she gets closer and closer to her return. And I know she is too, because the kid is just a complete competitor.
So turning our attention to Valley play,
Mhm.
I've been following the out-of-town scoreboards a whole lot, and it's been a really interesting year for the Valley. Obviously, losing
Yeah.
Missouri State, you knew that the league was going to take a little bit of a drop off, losing a stalwart like that. But I'm curious, how much have you been able to see in terms of what other teams have been doing in the non-conference, and how do you kind of evaluate the league so far?
Well, when you look at it, you lost a lot. You lost probably the oldest group in Valley play. Last year, there was just the top of the league was dominated by fifth and sixth year players. And when you lose that, especially some of the elite point guards, that was in the game. There is a transition period that you have to face. And all of us at the mid-major level, it's a blessing to be able to retain a lineup and have some continuity as the years go by. That's just not the case with us because a lot of our top tier players move on to another level for financial stability or whatever reasons. So when I'm looking at and seeing in the league now is exactly why we play this non-conference schedule. When you look at the top of our league, they've gone out and they've scheduled tough, and some of those haven't gone our way. And so I don't get deterred by it. I know our record, we love our record to be better, but when I'm looking at throughout, everybody's going through some injuries, everybody's going through some of those hits, but our league is going to be just fine when we balance out and get into a rhythm. And what I am noticing is just like with us, people are just starting to understand their roles in new positions. Now, some of us haven't slowed down. We're still putting 100 on the board around here with the offenses clicking. But I think all of us, this is a transition period, and that's why you play the non-conference schedule.
And honestly, like when you look at our roster as compared to like a you and I roster, I mean, I know that we've got a lot of returners, or
Yeah,
not a lot of returners, but we've got more returners than some of the upper echelon traditional teams in the Valley. I mean, just
yeah.
how important are the Janiah Thompsons and Kayla Coopers going to be in this next phase of the season?
You know, they've been through some of those battles, but now they got to step up in some of those battles. And that's the biggest thing for us, that you got people that have been there that are no longer kind of last year. It was like, palms up, like, oh God, what do we do? Well, now we got some palms down kids that was, hey, we've been here before. We're okay. Let's, settle in a little bit as the competition picks up. So you hope that comes into play with these young ladies. But the other part is right now, challenging some kids. We got to put the ball in the hole. That's the biggest thing is we talked about earlier, like I said, when you're talking about game points and getting to that free throw line, because we're shooting 70% there. If I can shoot 70% in some other areas, we'd be rolling. But that's what during this time, finals are over, kids aren't as stressed like they were the last couple of weeks. So just getting in the gym, knocking down shots, people pocket passing to each other. That's what we've been emphasizing, and that's what we're going to need for those percentage points to go up a little bit more.
Talking about Bradley, that's a team that's gotten a big jump forward. They bring back some important pieces from last year, but on the flip side of that, they've also had a season-ending injury with Claire McDougal going down. But Kaylin Nelson, 18 points a game, that stands out. What has made her effective for Bradley?
Just opportunity. I believe she was their second or third leading scorer last year, when we saw him, but she understands her role. She understands her role in the offense, and she understands the offense, number one. She gets the system that they're playing in. And she's just a kid that's phenomenal in the catch and shoot. But you got to guard her for both. She can still get downhill in those areas, but over half of her shots are coming from three. And that's what she wants. She's either going to be at the rim or she's going to shoot those threes. But her teammates do a good job of finding her. And so she's putting up some good numbers right now. And not just numbers, but percentage wise, she's playing really well.
So we've got a pre-Christmas Valley opener for the first time in SIU history.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that? Does that add a little extra excitement or maybe even a little bit of nervousness for this team?
No, it's across the board. It's something that our league is going to. The men have done it for a while. And we were trying to get two games in if we could, but you know what? Starting off by next year, we might play one or two before, but the way our schedule was already formed, we could fit one. So we wanted to go ahead and do that. Some people have already played, a
Yeah.
conference game in our league. So I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it unloads the schedule in the second half a little bit and gives us another bye in there. So I think it's good for our kids to get this in.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, Coach. Best of luck, and we'll talk more pregame at Bradley on Thursday. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Larry. Have a good one.
This is Inside Saluki Athletics presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. We're back on Inside Saluki Athletics presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors, joined by the one they call the grandma of Saluki women's basketball. It's Janiah Thompson, the vet of this team. How do you like that nickname, Janiah? Coach always says, hey, she's our grandma. Have you embraced that fully?
Oh yeah, I have actually. I've came to terms. This is going on my 6th year, so it's only right I am the grandma. It's the first time I've been like, I mean, I guess I'm gonna be the oldest, obviously, but that's kind of weird because I'm always used to being the youngest. But it's all right. I'm cool with being the grandma.
At what point did you realize, hey, like I really have a legitimate leadership role on this team?
The beginning of the year, really, because coming back from last year, like I was a leader, but it was a different type of role because I was leading from the sidelines because of injury. But coming back into practice, realizing like I got to be the energy striker if there's not any, things like that, just little details, paying attention.
Yeah, talking about the season a little bit. Get that big win over SEMO last week, and then you've got, I think, what, 12 days in between then and the game on
Yeah.
Thursday at Bradley. Just how much does a win benefit you guys going into that long stretch of practice before the next game?
It's definitely benefits a lot, just taking that energy from that win, especially it being a rivalry game and us coming out on top, that's like carried us through. Sometimes, being in the middle of the season, you get those long breaks with no games, practices get boring again, but allowing that energy to roll over into the practices is,
Yeah. I was talking with KBW a little bit earlier for the show, and I asked her, "Hey, who do you think has been the most improved player throughout the season?" And she said, "Oh, no doubt, it's got to be Janaya." What do you think has led to your improvement and kind of increased comfort as the season is going on?
um, I would say just having to sit out last year, like coming back this year, I got a lot to prove. I didn't get to play, and that really set the tone for my mindset going into this year. Like not taking off any reps, always trying to go full speed, game like, just doing what I need to do to get better and continue to lead.
Now, coming off an injury like that, I know you really didn't get cleared until, too much time before the season. How
Yeah.
much time did it take you to really readapt to the speed of the game and kind of fully trust your body?
It took me a couple months. I mean, I would say like truthfully now, this past month since like the beginning of December, I would say like I've really stopped kind of like handicapping my knee a little bit, like really focusing on allowing myself to put all my body weight on it or full pressure on it, so just trusting myself, going through the rehab, building up the strength that I need to have the comfortability in my knee.
Now, was it ever a doubt in your mind that you were going to come back and have a last full season, or was there kind of some doubt and maybe consideration to just move on?
Oh no, no, no. There was no doubt. I had to come back, couldn't go out like that. So no, but yeah, furthering the after the surgery, I already knew that I wanted to come back and finish off on a good year.
Now, in your opinion, kind of like basketball wise,
Yeah.
maybe biggest goals for you the rest of the year in order for you to look back and say, hey, I went out on the highest note I could.
Really just staying consistent, in game, out of game, staying healthy the whole year really is just my main goal.
Talking about last year and leading from the sidelines, obviously you didn't get to play in Valley Play really, at least
Yeah.
based on my memory. Um, did you learn anything from watching all those games from the sidelines?
I learned like how to, I guess, like see what the coaches see, if that makes sense. Like being a coach from the sidelines, like hearing what they talk about and like different points that they bring up in practices following games or even like at halftime. It's different seeing it from the sidelines in real time than being in the game real time.
Yeah, 100%. I can imagine. And, with Valley Play, obviously we've
Yeah.
gone through the full non-conference schedule. What is different about Valley Play based on what you watched last year and what you know is coming?
Mm, I would just say the speed and the tempo of the game. Um, and pre my bad.
You're good.
Pre-conference games, it's a lot more trying to figure out what's going to be our bread and butter and how we're going to go about the season, what our rotations are going to be. And then when you get into conference time, we're more focused on sticking with those rotations, meshing people, building that chemistry, things like that. So being
Now,
able to, oh, go ahead. You're
no,
good.
sorry. You go ahead and finish.
I was just saying being able to read tempo and being able to play with this certain amount of people for the full 40 minutes.
I know coach has talked a lot about that tempo, and one thing that I've kind of noticed is as the lineups have continued to be adjusted, you've played a little bit more, sometimes the four spot, sometimes even the five in a smaller lineup. How much of an adjustment has that required from you, considering that I know you've played a lot of guard mostly throughout your career?
Um, it's been kind of an adjustment, but Coach Bond always tells me to just play like a guard in that position anyway, so that makes it a little bit easier. But really just focusing on like using my body more, I have to be more aggressive, more contact down there, of course. So just things like that, making sure that I'm going up strong, going through contact, not trying to shy away from it.
So we talked at the top about, you've been a part of a lot of basketball teams. This is your sixth year. I'm curious, compared to all the teams that you've been a part of, what makes this team unique or special?
Um, I could truthfully say there's like a connection between everybody from the top to the bottom. Like everybody has a genuine connection on and off the court, even if we don't talk 24/7 off the court, like we know that we have each other's backs. Everybody's really connected, including the coaching staff. We're all just like it feels like a big family, truthfully. There's no drama with the girls. Any issues we have, we talk them out like sisters would do. Um, so I would just say, yeah, just being in a family, being connected.
One thing I definitely noticed is just watching practice, especially early in the season, it seems like there's a little more edge. There's a little more attitude in a good way
Yeah.
to this
Yeah.
year's team. I mean, how much do you think that benefits this group, especially, in games like that SEMO game?
I think we need it, just brings that competitive edge to the team that I feel like we kind of lacked a little bit last year. Um, like Coach Bond always tells us to be the aggressors. I feel like that's kind of been like our little motto, so just carrying that over.
Turning away from basketball to kind of wrap up here, I know we got a few more months left of the season, but for the folks that are curious, what's next for Janiah Thompson? You gonna try and stay in basketball and coach? You gonna try and play professionally, or what's next?
Um, I kind of want to play overseas. I really do want to travel a lot, so I feel like if I could combine the two, that would be the perfect thing for me. So, really just looking to go overseas. If not, then maybe be a trainer. I don't know about being a coach yet, but maybe a trainer.
Hey, you never know. So,
Yeah.
where's number one on the travel list? Where do you want to go? If you could hand pick where you could play,
Oh, I would say somewhere in Europe for sure.
you ever been?
No,
Oh man.
no, I've
Hey,
never been out the country, so
well, hey, fingers crossed that'll
yeah.
happen soon. Janiyah, really appreciate the time and great to talk. And we'll see you on
Thank
Thursday
you.
at Bradley. Should be a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. This has
Have
been
a good
Inside
one.
Saluki Athletics presented by Northwood Roofing and Exteriors.